Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mihir Shah once again with another video. In this video, we are going to continue our video series based on the subject indirect tax, also known as GST. This is a third video whereby we are going to solve the topic called as registration under GST. Two problem sums we are going to take up in this particular video. Again, a very important video for all the TYBCOM SEM 6 student. So in this video, we are going to learn basically when does a particular a firm or a trader or manufacturer needs to register under GST. Okay, what are the rules and how to solve the problem sum. Okay, so let us see what is registration under GST topic and how to solve the problems in the most simplest manner.
Now, before starting the sum, there are some rules that we need to note down. The very first thing that we need to understand is the limit for registration, or what is the threshold limit for the registration. Now, for registration purposes, there are different categories of states that we need to learn about. Okay, so basically, the states have been divided into three categories. Number one, state with a threshold limit of rupees 10 lakhs for both goods and services. Okay, so in that particular category, we have four states: Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. Okay, if the sum of the question is based on the supplier who is residing in any of these four states, then the threshold limit is 10 lakh for goods and services. So keep in mind MMNT. Okay, so these are the four abbreviated words MMNT that you need to remember: Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland, and Tripura. If if the supply is from the state of Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Pondicherry, and Telangana, then the state has a threshold limit of rupees 20 lakhs for both goods and services. So the rule is, if you're from MMNT state, 10 lakhs. If you're from Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Pondicherry, and Telangana, 20 lakhs is your threshold limit. And for the rest of India, okay, that is Jammu Kashmir, Assam, Himachal Pradesh, and all other states, okay, other than the first two categories, the threshold limit is rupees 20 lakhs for services and 40 lakhs for only goods, if you're only dealing in goods. And if you're dealing in goods and services both, then the threshold limit is 20 lakhs. Okay, so this is a major threshold limit rule that we have to remember. So number one, if you're from MMNT states, so that will be based on 10 lakhs. Okay, if you're from Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Sikkim, Uttarakhand, Puducherry, Telangana, 20 lakhs is the limit. And for rest of India, if you're only dealing in service, it is 20 lakhs. If you're only dealing in goods, it is 40 lakhs. And if you're dealing in both, again, it is 20 lakhs. Okay, that is it. This is the only threshold limit that you all need to remember. After that, it's given that a person will be required to register if the aggregate turnover exceeds this threshold limit. So once it goes beyond the numbers, okay, the limit which we learned, only if the supply, the aggregate turnover exceeds this particular amount, only then the person will be, required to register under GST. Okay, so this is a very important rule that you all need to note down. Next, person not liable for registration. Number one, person exclusively engaged in the business of supplying goods and services that are not liable to tax. So no tax goods are there. So on that, GST registration not compulsory. Person exclusively engaged in business of supplying goods service that are wholly exempt from tax. So if you are exempted goods, again, or exempted service, no need of registering. And last, agriculture is to the extent of supply of produce out of cultivation of land. Anything which is in raw material, agricultural produce which is in raw form, okay, on that GST registration is not compulsory. Okay, so person who are not liable for registration, you all can note down these 3 points. Next, compulsory registration. Person making interstate taxable supply. So if there are person who has, from one state and supplying goods to another state, then compulsorily have to register no matter whatever it will be your limit. Casual taxable person making taxable supply. Okay, casual taxable person means is a person who occasionally undertakes transaction involving supply of goods and services or both. Okay, so if you are a casual taxable person who sell taxable stuff, so in that case you'll have to compulsory register. A non-resident taxable person making taxable supply. So and if an NRI makes a taxable supply, he has to register. and person who are required to pay under under reverse charge. So those who have registered under reverse charge, they have to compulsorily register under GST, no matter whatever is the value of supply of goods or whatever is the aggregate turnover. Okay, for compulsory registration, these are the 4 points that you need to keep in mind. Okay, so that's it. These are the only rules that you have to remember. 20 lakhs for the first category, sorry, 10 lakhs for the first category, 20 lakh for the second, and third it is 20 and 40, depending on whether it is goods, service, or both. Okay, now let us see how to solve the very first type of sum under calculation of registration under GST. Okay, now we'll read out a question once and then we'll try to understand how we need to solve this ahead. Mehta Sate Brothers provides the detail of transaction of their business from the state of Maharashtra during the month of October 2018. Are they liable to get registered under GST? If yes, then from when? They are giving you different dates. Okay, so always remember whenever such kind of sum comes, first always check from which state he is in the state of Maharashtra. Okay, check like next whether it is only goods or service or both. I can see there are goods supplied and also services provided, so it's goods and services. Okay, so remember state of Maharashtra, when goods and services are given, the threshold limit is 20 lakhs. Okay, if it goes beyond that, you have to register under GST. Okay, only supply. Always remember aggregate turnover means only supply, no purchases can be included in the calculation. Now, let us see how to solve this sum. Okay, the columns that will be required will be date. We'll have date, we'll have particulars, we'll have the amount, and I need one more extra column called as cumulative amount, because then that column will come to know exactly when did the aggregate turnover surpassed the threshold limit. Okay, chalo, one by one we'll start now. First, on 8 October, goods supplied to Nanded. The moment you're supplying, it comes under aggregate turnover. Yes, so we will note down that. So date, particulars may we note down that transaction amount was 3,17,500. Second, on 10th October, again, there is a supply. It doesn't matter whether it is exempted, tax-free, taxable. If you're supplying, you need to add it. So exempt supply to Surat, yes, a date, name, and the transaction value. Third is on 17th October, taxable goods supplied to Ravi. Again, you are supplying goods, it will be considered. Amount is 11,50,000. Next is on 19th October, inward supply. Now, inward supply means purchases. Purchases cannot be taken into consideration to find the total aggregate turnover. We'll have to ignore it. So, we ignore it. 20th, again, you are supplying something. We will consider that. 20th October, goods supplied to Nandurbar. Amount is 350. And last, 25th Tenku, again services provided. Your providing service will be considered. Okay, to Shangli, we note down the value is 1,75,000. Very simple. Only anything whatever you are supplying, we just use those, we just add up, we just take those things into consideration. Now we need to find the cumulative. Cumulative meaning first number will be as it is 3,17,500. Now add this to the next value. Okay, so it will be 3,17,000 plus 2,10,000. Okay, so I'll just put an arrow. It is this. So you need to add this and you need to bring the value here. So 3,17,500 plus 2,10,000 will give you 5,27,500 plus 11,50,000 gives you 16,77,500 plus 350 gives you 20,27,500, and lastly when you add 1,75,000 you will get 22,02,500. Just a cumulative total. Once you come to this point, now it is the most simplest part. Just check now, since he was in the state of Maharashtra, he is supplying goods and services both. So the threshold limit is supposed to be 20 lakhs. Now, when we added up in cumulative, we saw that the supply, the aggregate turnover is getting over 20 lakhs in this particular cell. Okay, and the date corresponding to this cell is on 20th October. Okay, so Sate Brothers aggregate turnover has actually exceeded the threshold limit. So the moment it gets exceeded, he has to register under GST. So see our final statement. Sate Brothers aggregate turnover exceeded the threshold limit of 20 lakhs. Therefore, they are liable to register under GST from 20th October 2018. Okay, just the date when it goes beyond, the date where it has exceeded the threshold limit, that date will become the date on which the registration has to, he has to register under GST. Secondly, that is the update on which his threshold limit has surpassed. Okay, this is it. This is all what you'll have to do in order to solve the sum based on registration under GST. So this is one type of sum which usually comes. Okay, the question. Okay, now we will take up another type of question which usually comes. It's a little different than the current question. Okay, so this was sum number one. I hope everyone have understood that. We'll start with question number two. Now, if you look carefully, the question is a little different than the previous. Okay, so Sergeant started the business in April 2001. From which month he will be liable for registration as per the provision of GST Act? Give reason. They are giving you the various months. Purchases mein they are giving you taxable, tax free. Sales mein taxable and tax free. Now remember one thing. In order to get the threshold limit, we need aggregate turnover. That is nothing but the totals of sales. So purchases are not included at all. So these the first two columns are just dummy. Okay, not required. It won't be appearing in our solution. So what will appear will be only in the months, the taxable sale and tax-free sales. Okay. Now, before solving, always check which state. Now, they haven't given us any detail relating to state. So, if nothing is mentioned, we have to assume it's from the other category. That is the general category. That is the last category, where the threshold limit is 20 lakhs for service, 40 for goods, and if it's goods and services, then again 20 lakhs. Now, in such kind of sum, now here they have not mentioned whether it is goods or service. Always remember, whenever you get such kind of sum where you have purchase, sale, taxable, tax-free given, it is always to be assumed that it is supply of goods only. Okay, since it is the supply of goods only, the threshold limit will be 40 lakhs for other category states. Since there is no state mentioned, we have to assume it is other category. Okay, since it's not mentioned goods and services, we will have to assume it is supposed to be purely based on goods. So the threshold limit is going to be 40 lakhs. So now let us see what columns will be required here. Okay, columns में I'll need months, sales के अंदर taxable sale, tax free sale and total sale, that is nothing but the addition of taxable and tax free. And then I'll need another class column that will be cumulative in order to find out where did that actual turnover exceed that threshold limit. Okay, chalo, now since all of them are, there's nothing mentioned, it's all sale, taxable and tax free. So we'll note down the months, we'll note down the taxable sale value, tax free value and find the total of each and every sale. Chalo. So for the month of April to June, your taxable sale was 7.5 lakh and 19 lakhs, which comes to total 26 lakhs 50,000. For the month of July, it was 7 and 760, so total 14 lakh 60. For the next, it was 1 lakh and 6 lakh 50, so it became 7 lakh 50. For next, it was 4 lakhs and 2 lakh 80, so it came to 680. Next, it was 2.5 and 7.5, so that came to 10 lakhs. For November, 4.5 and 3 lakh 26,000, so that became 3 lakh 30,500. And last, 7,000 and 84,000, that comes to 91,000. Okay, we noted on taxable, tax free, and got the total under the total sales column. Now the next is very simple. We need to find cumulative total. So we take the first value as it is and we add it to the subsequent next value. So it's 26 lakh 50 plus 14 lakh 60 will give you 41 lakh 10,000 plus 7 lakh 50 will give you 48 lakh 60 plus 6 lakh 80,000 gives you 54 lakh 40,000 5540 plus 10 lakhs will give you 6540 plus 3 lakh 3500 will give you 68 lakh 70,500 plus 91,000 will give you 69 lakh 61,500. Now the aggregate or the cumulative turnover has been noted down. Now our rule, other state, only goods, threshold limit is 40 lakhs. So we have to see where that 40 lakh or where the turnover exceed 40 lakhs. So if you look carefully, in the very second cell, it has already exceeded 40 lakhs, and the month where it has exceeded is July. So that's it. That's a final answer. Okay, so we'll write now. My conclusion will be Sergeant's aggregate turnover has exceeded the threshold limit of 40 lakhs. Therefore, they are liable to register under GST from the month of July. That is it. The sum doesn't require any other calculation. We just have to find the register. Is the person liable to register or not? Okay, based on certain condition. Okay, so these are the two types of sum which are usually asked from the exam point of view under GST. I hope both you all have understood both the types of sum. Okay, so with that, we'll be ending this video here. Stay tuned for further more videos which will be uploaded based on the subject goods and services or GST. Thank you.